So today is a very exciting day because today is the day that we find you a literary agent. Our first stop today is Publishers Marketplace. So this is a paid service, but the benefit to that is that you get access to more information that you may normally need to do a little more digging for up front. If we get enough Patreon activity, I would be happy to do a deep dive on this, put the money down and go full in, but for today we're just going to leave it here. Know that it's there. Next stop we have Query Tracker. Query Tracker is great because it's free. There is a paid version which gives you more information, but the free version tells you a decent amount as is. So you can come down here, make a short list of people that you want to follow up with. You can see who's actively receiving submissions, who's not receiving submissions, how they prefer to receive submissions, and you can even see comments from past people who have submitted queries to these agents to see what their experience was like. So some of them will tell you this agent only does pre-written rejection letters. They don't give you any kind of feedback. Other people will say, you know what, I actually did get encouraging feedback. They gave me a few notes. They told me some things I could work on, and they got back to me in a relatively short amount of time. You'll see a lot of stuff on there where I reached out to this agent several months ago, never heard anything back, or I reached out to him 2 months ago, they took a couple weeks, but they did get back to me eventually, or even, hey, this agent sent me a letter of representation. They want to represent me. Isn't that great? So you can kind of see that, and you can also see what country they're from, which is a benefit to you if you're writing for, let's say, a Canadian or a British audience, and you're looking for someone who's going to understand those turns of phrase. That can be a way to see who may be a better fit for your book than someone else. Next up, we have Twitter. So you can find literary agents on Twitter. I'm not necessarily saying you should reach out to them on Twitter, but it's a good place to come and just do your research, because you should research your agents before you sign with them. You should get a sense of what they're like and if they're someone that you would like to work with. Certain people, like if you come and check out Lynn, you can see she's currently only working on queries from illustrators and nonfiction authors, and she only wants to be reached out to on Query Manager. So literary agents can leave notes like these for you to find them and know how to interact with them. And our last stop today is the Association of American Literary Agents, which, after all of my digging, seems to be the best place, at least for what I've found so far. So we're going to start by jumping in here at the Find an Agent button. I'm going to search by category. Fun thing is I actually do need an agent, so you're kind of doing this with me. Isn't that great? So because it's my first book, I'm actually just going to do fiction debut, first one. And we can see we have quite a few candidates here. We can see how many years they've been in the industry, how many years they've been a member of Association of American Literary Agents. And if you click on their profile, you can do a deep dive. So we can see here Lisa has a background in management, marketing, and finance. She is an alumna of Voices of Our Nation's Arts. She's committed to supporting underrepresented voices and actively looking for strong female characters, diverse characters, stories by BIPOC, LGBTQ. So this is where you can come in and look for places to call out what specifically about your story and your manuscript aligns with what they're already looking for. Because at the end of the day, it needs to be a happy marriage between both parties. The agent and the author need someone who understands the other, someone who is providing what the other is seeking, right? That's going to be the happiest relationship. And if you scroll to the bottom, you can see here are the subjects that she prefers to work with, fiction, children's, nonfiction, in these specific categories. You can also see submission requirements. Now, I did notice up here, it says she's closed to submissions, so this is kind of a non-starter. We're going to keep looking, but you can see all this information from one quick glance. So let's go back to the list and see who else we have here. We have Miriam. Let's see what Miriam has going on. So Miriam is from New York. She specializes in adult literary and book club fiction, narrative nonfiction, and books for children. She also is here for those underrepresented voices. Submissions are open, so she is accepting new submissions for these categories. And if you look now, we have some actual submission requirements because she's accepting submissions. So we can see She only accepts email queries. Here's the email she wants you to send them to. She would like some context, so if you met at a conference, she's requesting that in the subject line, you give her some details about that to prime her. She wants a brief description of the book. We'll do a separate video on how to do that later. A bio, first chapter, paste it into the body, so no attachments, just put it right into the email. She's been very clear about what she does and does not want. And this is something that a lot of authors can sometimes have trouble with, is if they come through and they find someone who fits the bill on their category and all of the other stuff, but they don't check out the submission requirements. If you're not going to take the time to read the agent's small paragraph of requests, why would they take the time to read your manuscript? Show some respect. Do your research, read the requirements, and do your best to accommodate those. So this was just a brief introduction to the American Association of Literary Agents website. Happy to do a deep dive if enough people are interested in seeing it, but for now, I think that's a really great place to get started. If you've had success finding agents through other means that we didn't discuss today, drop them in the comments below so we can all get better together. I've been Jaren.